Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm here doing story time on my divorce and what led to it and all of that. I've got Vivian playing the game for me, so thank you to Vivs for playing. And so we had just left off, this is part 16, so we had just left off after the PPO termination hearing and my ex-husband's motion, or my husband's motion being denied. So after that, we were now set to get ready for the divorce. In the state that I live in, there's a 6-month waiting period. So we were not able to get divorced officially until May. And so we just had to basically get things ready, more or less. So my lawyer was, back and forth with me, back and forth with him. It's an equitable distribution state, so we were required to sell our house if one of us couldn't buy the other one out, which neither one of us could, and then split the proceeds of the house. We had to split everything evenly. The only thing that I did is I told them that I did not want any of the vehicles. The minivan that we drove was falling apart. It was a giant piece of crap. I'd given my husband like $1,000 or $500 or something the previous summer to buy tires for it, and he had not done that. So the tires were all flat all the time. It had some sort of it sounded like an RC car when you drove it. It had a radiator leak. It overheated all the time. It was falling apart. I was done. I was gonna get a new vehicle after we sold the house. I was like, I want to keep the van at least until I can get a new vehicle, but he can have the van, he can have his motorcycle, he can have his truck. So that was the only thing that I didn't want. I gave him all the vehicles, and then he was supposed to give me my half of the fair market value for all 3 of them, which obviously never happened. Did not ever happen. I didn't mean to say obviously. I meant to say incidentally. Never happened. But that doesn't matter. I don't care. But I was allowed to live in the house until it sold. He was staying somewhere. I don't know where he was staying. I've heard rumors of where he was staying. I don't really care. Does not matter. But he was constantly harassing my lawyer. He was so mean and aggressive to my lawyer that she ended up quitting, and I had to be assigned to a different lawyer. It was bad. She was a sweet little girl that was freshly a new lawyer, and I think he scared her away from ever doing this kind of law again because she left. But anyway, so we had a lot of, basically the kids and I were just kind of, that's what it was. My sister, this PPO hearing happened in November. December, very beginning of December, my sister shows up on my doorstep, middle of the night, with her kid and her 2 dogs, telling me that her roommate threw her out and she has nowhere to go. So I'm like, all right, come in. Tell her the dogs have to be kenneled at night, because I have a cat. They want to kill my cat, and because they're not very well potty trained. And they're giant. They're 2 huge dogs. So she brings in the kennel for them, and I tell her and my nephew can have my bedroom. Terrible, terrible memories of that room. I don't sleep in there anyway. I sleep downstairs on my couch. I want nothing to do with my bedroom. It's the biggest bedroom in the house. It's got a great big bed in there. Her and her son can sleep in there. He's the same age as my youngest. So her and my nephew go up there, and I tell them that's where they can stay until she can find a place. So then I've got that going on. My sister actually took off, a few days later, took off to go move in with some guy, left the dogs and my nephew there for 3 months, did not see or hear from her. Me and her ex, because they had 50-50 custody, we would do the exchanges. And so I just had the dogs and my nephew, and I'm trying to get my house ready to sell. And so finally, because my nephew's fine. My nephew could live with me forever. It wouldn't bother me one bit. He's a great kid. But the dogs were too much. They would chase my cat. They'd try to kill my cat. It's very, very hard to get a house ready to sell when you've got 2 very large dogs, especially in this, in the winter, because they're tracking snow everywhere, and then it kind of got into spring and they're tracking mud everywhere. But eventually I told her that she had 3 days or something. This was after 3 to 4 months of them living with me. and her just not being there. She would call like maybe once a week her kid and ask him how he was. That's it. And so I told her that she had like 3 days to come and get her dogs, or I was taking them to the pound, which of course is not true. I would have never taken those dogs to the pound. I loved her dogs. They're sweethearts. I still love her dogs. They're still sweethearts. But because she had told me that she couldn't take the dogs to this boyfriend's house because he had a cat. And I was like, excuse me, I have a cat. And my poor cat is being tortured daily. And I love my cat. My cat would sleep on my chest every single night. And he could not sleep on my chest every night because the dogs would try to murder him. And it was very upsetting for both of us. So my sister got all mad and told me I was the worst ever and told everybody how awful I was. But she came and got her dogs and her kid, which I said the kid could stay. I said, my nephew can stay. I don't mind him. I just can't have the dogs. She came in, and of course she eventually got over it because, she called me like 2 days later and told me that she found out that the cat actually was her boyfriend's ex-girlfriend's cat. So that cat could leave now. And she was so mad. And so then she was over it and all was fine. And, there was no hard feelings there. But, so then we started, in earnest getting my house ready to be sold. And then in the meantime, I was talking to a friend of mine and she mentioned that she wanted to buy a house. So I was like, hey, you have 3 kids. I have a 4-bedroom house here. Why don't you buy it? So she went and got herself approved for a mortgage, and we decided she was going to be the one to buy my house. I communicated this to my lawyer. He communicated this to my husband, who was very mad about this. He did not want my friend to buy the house. But then he decided that he wanted the money more than he really cared who bought the house. So, but I think originally he thought we were like trying to pull one over, like we were going to say she was buying the house and I was really going to, I don't know. Makes no sense to me, but whatever. It does not matter. The point is, we found somebody. It took a while to actually get all of this happening. In the meantime, my hearing for the finalization of my divorce was May 13th. So May 13th, I go to court. That's when they determine we are going to sell the house. Like, it's already in the process. My ex-husband can come, he was my ex-husband by the time I left the courtroom, could come and get half of everything. But because of the PPO, the kids and I would leave, and, there would be someone there to watch him. I believe I set it up for my brother-in-law to do it. I don't remember. It might have been the police. It might have been my brother-in-law. And he could get half the stuff. He would get all the vehicles, but I would retain the van until I could buy a new vehicle, and then he would get the van. He was supposed to give me, the Kelley Blue Book value of these vehicles, half of it. And of course he didn't. But he, and that was it. Divorce was final. May 13th, 2022, my divorce was final. And so then up next we had actually already had the hearing for custody. My ex-husband had been given, that past February, he had been given supervised visitations twice a month, supervised by my mother at her house. He had to get there after I got there. I had to drop off the kids, then he had to get there after I left, and then he was supposed to leave before I came to pick up the kids. He kept staying, or he would get there when I was trying to leave and try to talk to me. Like, he wanted to talk to me about the house. He wanted to, at one point he was shouting at me that when that PPO is up in October, I'll just move in anyway. And he was so mad because he was telling me he had nowhere to live, he had nowhere to go. But anyway, so the divorce became final. We had already had this supervised visitation in place. Summer comes and we're in the process of really trying to find somewhere for me and the kids to live once this house sells. My friend's being approved, for mortgage. We're getting this closing date ready. We end up getting a closing date of September 1st. So, I gotta end this here, but I will tell you guys about my new job actually in the next video, because I forgot to mention that part. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already. If you're seeing this on TikTok, you can go over to my YouTube and subscribe, or you can follow my TikTok, whatever. I'm not putting this up on TikTok till October though, so if you're watching this on YouTube, it won't be on TikTok yet. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. And thanks to Viv for your beautiful gameplay. Bye.